Hi, I'm Joe from As the Joe Flies,
And I'm Leslie from Trips with Tykes.
and welcome back to Disney Deciphered. So, on today's episode, we realized that we talk a lot about taking a rest day at Walt Disney World, but we haven't done. I don't think we've ever actually done an episode on it. We did all the way back in episode 22, Leslie, back in 2017. I think we established is when we started this nonsense. We did talk about what to do if you're at Disney without a park ticket, which is a little bit about what a rest day is about. But we want to talk about, just in case we have new listeners or you're planning a trip for 2025, the concept of a rest day and why we think it's important for your vacation, and some suggestions on what you can do during your rest day. Before we get started, just a quick shout out to all of our Patreon subscribers out there. We really appreciate your support. All paid subscribers can receive ad-free episodes, bonus content, lots of other good stuff. Today, I found out, Leslie, that you're going to the Tiana's Bayou Adventure preview at Disneyland, which I didn't know. So, trip coming up, still here in 2024. At least one more.
Two more, because I'm going on a Disney cruise for Thanksgiving. So
Oh,
you got
that's
to
right.
catch up,
I should have
Joe.
known about that one. I should have known about. I did know about that one. So yes, I do need to catch up for sure. All right, so let's talk about rest days, Leslie. I mean, let's just start with like the basic concept. When you think of a rest day at Walt Disney World, and this really doesn't apply as much to Disneyland because Disneyland you're usually on shorter trips, but what do you think of when you think of a rest day at Walt Disney World?
So it's a day that I'm not going to the parks. I'm not sure it necessarily always means that I'm fully resting, although usually it does mean like a sleep in day for my family at least. But yeah, it just means you're not going to the parks. It doesn't mean they're not necessarily being busy. What about for you?
Yeah, I think a rest day for me, and we talk a lot on this podcast about Disney being a forced march of happiness, and the sense that we're always going from attraction to attraction to attraction, really pushing it, trying to maximize our days. I feel like a rest day for me is on a longer vacation, building in a day where we're really do not have much of an agenda, I think is one of the main characteristics for a rest day for me. Because normally it's like, okay, we're going to Animal Kingdom. We definitely want to ride Flight of Passage, Everest, Kilimanjaro Safaris. Okay, the next day is Magic Kingdom. This is our punch list for that. On a rest day, even though you may have concepts of a plan, you definitely are not necessarily saying these are all the things that we're going to do. We're going to take it easier. And for me, you need a rest day because Disney just can really be a grind. There's just so much to do and so much going on that without a rest day, personally, I feel like you're really setting yourself up for a difficult time overall. Maybe diminishing returns is a better way to say it.
I agree because I mean, honestly, the way you and I do Walt Disney World, I mean, we're getting up, we're making early entry, we're making rope drop. So there's definite sleep deprivation, even for adults who don't need as much sleep as younger kids, built into that kind of schedule. So you just need a day, I think, to take it easy, catch up on sleep, reset, let your blisters heal a little bit on your feet from the 20 plus thousand steps that you're getting in every day. I think it's really necessary at Walt Disney World. And you're right, I don't take rest days at Disneyland because I can go for 3 straight days at Disneyland. But once a vacation gets longer than that, and most of our listeners and most people do take a vacation longer than 3 days at Disney World, then you really need to have that downtime to just actually get some R&R on your vacation.
Yeah, I think that definitely covers why you should take a rest day. I think a tougher question is what length of trip would require a rest day? Or maybe the flip side of that question is what kind of trip is so short that you don't need a rest day? Logical minds can disagree about this. I personally feel like if you are going to the park for even as short as 3 days, if you can build in an extra day to rest, I think it's worth it. Once you get to 5, 6 days in the park, 5 to 6, 7 day trips at Walt Disney World, I definitely feel like at that point I would start building in a rest day for sure.
Yeah, totally agree. And I mean, I guess personally for me, if I'm doing 4 park days, I want the fifth day to be a rest day for my family at least. Because I mean, I guess if you're really kind of squeezing in maybe like an extra long weekend trip, 3 days or 4 days, there may not be a way to make that happen. So if you're really just trying to go for a partial week, then it's going to be hard to make it work. But once you start approaching the week mark, then it really makes sense, I think, to have that extra rest day. The last time I took a rest day with my family, we did a 5 night trip and we had a full day. One of those 5 days was the rest day.
Now, I feel like there are definitely financial considerations you need to take into account. For starters, if you're on a very tight budget, the first financial consideration is if you're taking a rest day, you're going to need an extra night of hotel. To me, though, and the reason why I really feel like rest days are good is because if I stay at Disney for 5 nights and do 4 days of parks, right, I may end up not doing as much. I guess with the 4 days, you get to visit all the parks, but I may have a better time overall if I do 5 nights with 3 days of parks and dropping that fourth park day for a family of four. That's like almost $400 in savings. Now, if you flip it, let's say I'm thinking about doing a 4 night stay with 3 days in the parks or a 5 night stay with 3 days in the parks. I'm only adding $200, especially if I'm staying at a value on the other side. So I do think there's more of a give and take there than is readily apparent to start with. And again, I think diminishing returns is the way to talk about it. Like you may spend a little bit more, but you may have a much better experience overall just because you got to rest and you weren't as crazy running around.
Yeah, and this gets tricky because you have to sort of do the matrix of hotel costs, ticket costs, park hopper costs. Because, like you say, if you're going to only do 3 park days, well, then if you want to see all 4 parks on those 3 days, you need to pay more for the park hopper ticket. So, it becomes like a tricky calculation that you have to do every time. And then if you're having like one of those specialty tickets, like we had this past summer with the 4 parks ticket that was discounted, you can only do 1 park per day, then you have to think about like, well, gosh, that's a huge savings. So I really want to take that ticket and, then maybe pay for the extra hotel night. So a lot depends on where you're staying, what ticket add-ons you're adding to. I mean, for me, if you're at a value resort, take that rest day because that value resort room is cheap. It's much cheaper than an extra park day for your entire family of four. But if you're staying at a deluxe resort, that extra hotel night could be a lot more money than just, heading to the park and making the most of your shorter vacation.
Now, on the flip side, the financial considerations, if you have a bigger budget, the question sometimes is, let's go back to that example where I'm on a 5 night stay. Should I do 3 park days or 4 park days? If you have a bigger budget, you could theoretically do a fourth park day, but say in your head mentally, this is going to be my rest day. I'm really only going to use this fourth park day to go in to maybe see the fireworks at night or maybe grab dinner at one of the parks at night. And, my budget allows for that. I think that is something that you can consider as well. For me, I do not add that extra day, not because of budgetary reasons, but because I know that mentally, if I add that fourth day, I will not be able to resist. Maybe we'll get there at 10 or 11 instead of at 9, but I just won't be able to resist the temptation of using that fourth park day to its fullest. We should also note, though, that once you get past 5 park days, that sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th park day that you add onto a ticket is $25 to $40. Usually it's closer to $25. It depends on the day and depends on what time of year it is, but it's much cheaper. That's like after the fifth day, that's when the marginal cost of adding ticket days really decreases. At that point, maybe if I'm only spending $25 per person on that extra day, maybe I will actually, well, I won't, but maybe you will actually be able to resist going into the park until nighttime. So you kind of have to know yourself to decide whether you're willing to get a park day for that extra rest day and know that you're going to be able to be disciplined enough to not push it too hard.
Yeah, that's right. And we should mention we're talking about only taking a rest day because that's all that you and I take is one rest day, but you can potentially take more than that if especially if you're taking a longer vacation, a week or more, I would recommend taking a second day off. So, it's important to double check when you buy your park tickets to know how many days of validity that you have to use those. So if you're going to take more than one rest day, then you need to make sure that that works with your park ticket, and generally it does. So a 2-day park ticket at Walt Disney World, you have 4 days of validity to use it. So you could take 2 days off on a 2-day park ticket, and then once you get to like a 7-day park ticket, you have 10 days of validity. So you actually have 3 potential rest days built into that ticket length. So even more at higher ticket length situations. So definitely just double check that. But for you and I, Joe, are sometimes playing a little bit with the date that we start our tickets to save some money. So make sure that you've got the validity that you need for rest days.
What Leslie is talking about is if you're buying tickets separately, you can start them maybe a day earlier than you actually plan to start being in the parks and use up, quote unquote, one of those rest days early. And sometimes it's like $4 or $5 cheaper to get that ticket, which is 2 cups of coffee overall for a family of 4 that you can save. Before we talk about what you can do on rest day, I think the last thing that I'd like to chat about conceptually is when in the trip do you like to take a rest day? One thing that is really nice is that now that we don't have to deal with park reservations and all that stuff, although you sort of have to deal with it with Lightning Lane Multipass and all that. But since we don't actually have to tell Disney where we're going on what day, we can be a little bit more flexible with our rest days. Obviously, I feel like weather sometimes will dictate when you end up taking a rest day. But if the weather looks good for an entire trip, what is your general thought? Do you like to take a rest day closer towards the beginning of a trip or towards the end?
I usually take it right smack dab in the middle of the trip. So if it's a 4-day trip and I'm building in a rest day, it's 2 days in the parks, rest day, 2 days in the parks after that. But I mean, a lot depends on sort of what the situation is going into the trip. Like, are my kids coming straight from school and they're going to be stressed out? Or are we going straight back into school? Right. So something like that to think about. So think about what's happening in your life before and after, and when you're going to most need that reset a little bit. But I think in the middle is perfect if you can figure that out, because that's when you get the catching up on sleep, and then you can go hard and sprint towards the finish line. What about you?
Yeah, I like to cheat a little bit closer towards the back end. I mean, obviously, yes, it's going to be close to the middle no matter what. But, I might do 3 park days, then rest, and then do the one last park day, especially if I have a park hopper and I'm kind of doing my last hits, like the stuff that I missed on that last day. I like to take that break. And so, kind of push really hard for a little bit longer, then take the break and then push really hard on that last day. And I also find sometimes that after a longer trip, by the last couple of days, you're not doing as much anymore just because number one, you've become more efficient, which is what happens on a longer Disney trip. You just learn to become more efficient, but you've also done a lot of the headliners that you wanted to do, and you're also tired. So I like to leave that rest day towards the end, and then sometimes just kind of cruise into the finish line depending on what situation is. There's no really wrong way to do it, but I thought it'd be fun to talk about that a little bit. So
Yeah, and one piece of strategery, we're using all of the political references here in this episode, Joe, is to think about if you're going at a high crowd time. I actually might build the rest day earlier in the vacation because of Lightning Lane multipass strategy. And we talk about this on our advanced Lightning Lane multipass episode. There is a big advantage to booking your lightning lanes like 8 or 9 or 10 days in advance. So if you have that rest day earlier on, it's going to shift your whole lightning lane booking ability. So that's something to keep in mind. I would really only do this if you're going, say, like Christmas and New Year's, where it really matters, where those lightning lanes are going to be super, super competitive. I would not do this for the vast majority of vacations for folks, but maybe something to think about if you're going at a really, really popular time.
all right, let's take a quick break, rest, if you will, and then we will talk about some of our suggestions for what you can do on a rest day. All right, Leslie. So when we are taking an actual rest day, regardless of whether, and let's just throw out the concept of going into a park at night for the purposes of talking about rest day. We'll talk about our pure no ticket, no entering the parks, no entering the parks at all rest day. Although I guess I should add here that on your rest day, if you decide you want to go to the park, you can always add a day to your tickets. Just go to guest services or any ticket booth. So you can do that on the fly if you want. You can do that anytime before your last day of ticket has run out. But anyway, tangent aside, full rest day, not going to go to the parks at all. I think the first thing you got to do is sleep in. Even if you have kids who can't sleep in, maybe that means just lay around in the hotel room and watch cartoons, watch TV in the morning, but just take it easy in the morning as much as you can for, whatever your family is capable of.
Yeah, I totally agree. And this is all the more important if you're taking the rest day after doing like an after hours event or a Halloween party, Christmas party, something like that. I mean, that's something we didn't talk about in terms of scheduling. That's when you take the rest day. If you're doing one of those things, for sure, do it the next morning so that you can sleep in. So, yeah, my kids are teenager and tween, so they can definitely sleep in these days. But if you have little ones, it's a little bit harder. But definitely do try to take advantage and just get that chill time. Veg out time is what my kids call it, where even if they're not sleeping, they're scrolling their phones or just sitting around in their PJs.
I forgot that you just went to the Halloween party and then rope dropped the next day. So, yeah, if you're not on a 3-day trip like Leslie was, trying to cram everything in on the East Coast at once since she doesn't know when she'll be back, yes, after an after hours party, you may want to consider actually resting after and not getting 3 hours of sleep or whatever nonsense it
I got
was that
4.
day
I
for
got
you.
4.
Wow. Yes. And a nice healthy number of hours of sleep. So definitely sleep in. Another thing is, no matter where you're staying, whether you're staying on site or off site, your property probably has a pretty nice pool or just an enjoyable pool. So spend some time at the pool. This is, of course, if you're not doing a rainy day, rest day, but go to the pool. You'll find that you could spend a whole day at the pool. They have activities during the, I guess, kind of like business hours, quote unquote. It's like 10 to 3 or 10 to 4 ish every day. Depends on the pool, depends on the Disney resort. But at Disney resorts, they will like play games with the kids. They'll do trivia. They'll do like these voting things like this or that brackets, like a lot of fun that you can have at all the pools from value all the way up to deluxe resorts. So spend some time at the pool, just relaxing, enjoy your resort. I would throw in there, don't only hang out at the pool, but like go visit different areas of your resort that you may not have gotten to check out when you're rushing from park to park.
Yeah, I totally agree. I always try to just take a stroll around the hotel and see what there is on offer there because there are a lot of secret things at these hotels that you probably don't know exist. There's still some that I'm discovering at different hotels. So really get to know, read that brochure that they give you a check-in, find out what's on offer, and you can definitely find some things that are really great to pass the time and get the kids doing something more than just the pool.
Yeah, because we forgot to write down in the notes, but there are things, this is at night, but there are like movie nights that they will do. There are activities. Sometimes they're by the pool, sometimes they're in different, like I know Boardwalk has I was going to call it a town center, but it's kind of like a all-purpose rec room. That's not what it's called. I can't remember what it's called, but that's where they do their activities. Like they'll do tie-dye shirts or crafts and things like that. Some of them are actually free. Some of them you have to pay for. Like I think the tie-dye shirts you have to pay for, but there are lots of activities like that that are fun for the kids that they can do that aren't pool related and also work on the rainy days as well.
Yeah, that's right. And then a lot of the hotels have playgrounds that kids can play on. So definitely just take a look around your resort and double check what the offerings are there because you'll find a lot of stuff hidden for sure. All right, well let's talk a little bit more about hotels because the other activity that you can do on a rest day at Walt Disney World is not just stay at your own hotel, but you can hotel hop to others and get to enjoy a lot of their amenities and a lot of their activities and dining and things like that. I mean, you can't use the pools at other Disney hotels, but you can use pretty much everything else. So, what do you like to do, Joe?
So a rest day is a great day to do a character meal to still get some Disney magic, especially if you didn't want to cram it in or take up time during your theme park day to do a character meal. And of course, a lot of the resorts have great character meals that you might not get to otherwise because, Topolino's has a really nice character breakfast, right? But do I really want to go? Let's say I'm staying at All Star Movies or something. Do I really want to go all the way to the Riviera and then from there figure out how to get to a park on a park day for breakfast? No. But on a rest day, I sleep in, have a 10:30 reservation, go ahead and get breakfast at Topolino's at 10:30, for example. So do those character meals. A lot of the different hotels have, like you said, a lot of activities that can be done. Boardwalk has the Surrey bike rentals. Actually, Boardwalk, Port Orleans, like a couple of the resorts have Surrey bike rentals that you can do with your family. That's a lot of fun. You can do horseback riding if you visit Fort Wilderness. You can even rent watercraft if you'd like. There's just a lot of things to do. You can even go to the spa at Grand Floridian. You can, see, or Sarah, I don't know, Saratoga Springs didn't reopen their spa, but you can try to book a spa appointment. So there's just lots of things to do at the resorts. That's beyond even just exploring them. Right now, we're recording this as Halloween season is ending, but the holiday season is starting right after that. And lots of Christmas and holiday decorations are going to go up within the next week or two at the different resorts, and you can just go check them all out. The holidays are a great time to resort hop.
Yeah, I totally agree. So definitely explore what those other hotels have to offer. I am very, very big on, like you say, those character meals or doing like another specialty dining experience. Like we love to do Hoop Doo a musical review. That's a longer evening experience. So that's something that maybe you want to do on a rest day as well. So think about those unique dining experiences at the hotels and get to take those in with your family. So the next thing you can do while you're hotel hopping, I know you do all the time, Joe, which is to ride all of the transit to go around to these different hotels with the transportation fan that your son is. So what can folks experience?
I mean, what can't you experience? There's the monorail, there's the Skyliner, there are the friendship boats that run along Crescent Lake hotel area. There's just a lot of different transportation that you can take to and from the different hotels. Sometimes you might need to get to an area first, like you might need to take an Uber to, like, for example, you could take an Uber to the front of Hollywood Studios and then just ride the Skyliner all day, or take it to a resort. But just lots of different watercraft transportation things that you can ride. So it's just a lot of fun getting from resort to resort. And that takes up a bunch of time, but it's also fun in and of itself. And so, as Leslie alluded to, my son and, you know, myself as well really enjoy doing that. Another thing you can do that people don't think about is mentally, everyone's like, oh, I got to be in a park to watch the fireworks. But there are different free and paid options to watch fireworks. So I'll go over one of the free options. You can always get yourself over to the Polynesian resort and watch the Magic Kingdom fireworks from the beach at the Polynesian. That is open to everyone except for, I think, the day before July 4th, the day before New Year's Eve, and New Year's Eve itself. I think those are the days that, they make sure you're staying on site, not on site, at the Polynesian itself to be able to enjoy the fireworks from the beach. But every other night, that beach is just open for you to wander around and check out. And, you can see the Epcot fireworks from Caribbean Beach Resort, not the best view, but you can see it from there. Lots of different places that you can see. You can go to, I guess this one isn't free, but you can eat at California Grill or Topolino's and watch fireworks from their balconies. So lots of options. And there are some other more out of the box options to watch fireworks as well, right?
So you can book a fireworks cruise. I mean, that's something that is a little bit on the higher price end of things, but you can really have a unique Disney experience, something like that, to get to see the fireworks. And so definitely, I mean, I don't love being in the crowds watching the fireworks at the park. So if you're somebody who doesn't like standing shoulder to shoulder and having to camp out to get a good viewing spot, this is a great chance to get to experience those nighttime shows and check them off the list a little bit and not have to be with the masses.
Definitely. Other places, Coronado Springs in the Grand Destino Tower, Dahlia Lounge, you can watch them as well. And yes, the fireworks cruise, it's a luxury item, but I was thinking, I guess it would cost you the same as getting 4 tickets to the parks. And so, it's about, one of my clients just did it. It was like $478 plus tip. So, for a family of 4, if you're adding a 4th day of parks, it's about the same. You can put more than 4 people on that fireworks cruise though and spread out the cost a little bit. So, a little bit of Disney math there, but I think it is definitely a unique way to watch the fireworks, and you definitely won't have to be elbow to elbow with people like you would if you were in the theme parks.
That's right. So let's talk about a couple of other things that you can do on a rest day. We haven't really mentioned this yet, but Disney Springs, of course, is a destination unto itself. You can go dine there, you can do your souvenir shopping, you can do some of the crazy experiences like the balloon ride or the amphicar, or if it ever comes back, watch the drone show at night. We had that this past summer. So lots and lots of things to do at Disney Springs. And I will admit, I'm guilty of missing a lot of what Disney Springs has to offer because it's so big that it almost feels like a theme park. People feel like they can't go for just an hour or two, but you can go just for an hour or two. But if you can go and spend a full day, if you want to, like bowl at Splitsville, watch, a show, so at the movie theater or Cirque du Soleil or whatever it is, there's so much going on there.
Yeah, I kind of avoid Disney Springs because it feels less restful for me, but that is just a me thing. It's just like a lot of people, a lot of shopping, which I'm not really into. And so that's, but I know people really love going to Disney Springs. I do love the World of Disney store. I do love checking out the Lego store. And yeah, that reminds me that your rest day is a great day to go shopping for souvenirs, whether it be at Disney Springs or at the hotel gift shops. There's a lot of good options there for what to do. I think another thing that you can do is go play mini golf or go to one of the water parks. A reminder that mini golf, they you generally recommend that you make reservations, so you may want to do that in advance. A lot of times, if you booked a package with Disney, you will get mini golf included, like one round of mini golf included with your trip. And then for water parks, they have that new, this is not a rest day thing, but just to remind you in 2025, if you are booked at a Disney resort, your check in day, you can go to the water park for free or included as part of your price of your hotel. So mini golf or regular golfing, water parks, good option as well. Finally, let's get to the boring stuff, Leslie, the stuff that I like to do on the rest day. And that would be your chores. Am I right?
That's right. You love to do laundry on a Disney vacation, right, Joe?
I love to do laundry on a Disney vacation. This is a Sam I Am situation, Leslie. I'll do it here, I'll do it there, I'll do it everywhere. But yes, I normally find that I have to do laundry on a Disney vacation. Rest day is a perfect day to do that. By the way, a lot of the quiet pools are where the laundry machines are. And so, it's not the feature pool, but you can do laundry and hang out at the pool at the same time. Also, a good time to do grocery shopping, whether you have a rental car and you go out in person or you do Amazon delivery or any grocery delivery. Like if you need some supplies for your room, this is a good day to do all that since you're just mostly hanging around the hotel anyway. To close things out, Leslie, what do you feel about visiting another Orlando attraction on a rest day? Would you characterize that as a rest day or would you characterize that as just another day in your vacation?
Yeah, it's not a rest day. So if you're going to go to Universal for the day, in fact, it's harder because if your home base is at Disney, you're having to think of like transportation to get yourself over to another theme park. And, you can't go back to your hotel for an afternoon break as easily as you could if you are going to a Disney park. So in some ways for me, that's harder. So if you are going to do more than one theme park, on an Orlando vacation, don't count that as your rest day, and probably take a break. So if you're going to do both Disney and Universal, but you're not going to move hotels, then take that rest day in between those two different resorts or something like that. But yeah, it's not a rest day. I mean, I guess if you were to just do something very casual, maybe go over and take like a spin on the Orlando Eye and then come back or something like that, that would be something that wouldn't be as overwhelming. But the transportation and the traffic and the parking in Orlando cannot be understated. Like it is not always very easy. And I mean, I'm used to living in the big city. You live in a big city. We're used to that kind of stuff. But for a lot of Americans, it will seem like the big city because of the things that you will encounter logistically that will make things hard.
Yeah, like Kennedy Space Center is great, but that is a 45-minute to an hour drive away, depending on where you're actually staying. It's just a lot to do all those things. So I would say just consider that as another part of your vacation. And if you're doing a rest day, that do a rest day on another day. It's just too much for me, even forced march of happiness as I am. I guess the way to split the baby a little bit would be to No, see, this doesn't work because you go super early and then say come back at 1 or 2 p.m. and then rest the rest of the day. I guess it would kind of work. You still got to wake your kids up early. I guess if you're one of those families who your kids aren't going to sleep past 8 o'clock anyway, maybe, hit up Legoland, hit up, not Universal. Universal is just too much, but like maybe hit up Kennedy Space Center, Crayola experience, something really small, Gatorland. Just throwing everything out there right now. And then rest from like 1 p.m. until, but that's just like a half day thing. So it's like a half rest day if you're trying to maximize, but still rest a little bit. All right, so that does it for our thoughts on rest days. Let us know whether you take a rest day for your family, whether you like to just push all the way through. And then when you do have a rest day, what do you like to do on your rest days? DisneyDeciphered@gmail.com, at WWDeciphered on Twitter, or on Instagram, Disney Deciphered. Our Disney do will be very simple here. Just do take a rest day, or do strongly consider, even if you can't take a rest day, I guess at the very least build in a half day where you're doing nothing. Because what I find is you're going to end up resting anyway, whether you plan to or not. So either you're going to pack your schedule from sun up to sundown, and then your family is, unless you're made of much tougher stuff than we are, your family's going to eventually crash and burn or mutiny against you. So that's one option. Or you're going to find yourself being so tired that you end up taking long breaks anyway. So our Disney do is plan in those breaks, plan in those rest times. You can always scale up and do more if you feel like you have too much rest. But remember, I know it's really hard to remember when you spend all this money on a Disney vacation and people are throwing lightning lanes at you and all this nonsense. But just remember that ultimately it is supposed to be a vacation, and it is supposed to at least be a little bit relaxing.
That's right, John.
Don't do what we do, just do what we say, as always on this podcast. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Leslie, where can people find your work if they're looking for you on the internet?
Tripswithtykes.com, at Trips with Tykes everywhere on social media. What about you, Joe?
You can find me at As the Joe Flies all over social media. Joseph Chung at travelmation.net with an M if you're looking to plan a trip. Thank you everybody for listening. We really appreciate it. And other than that, Leslie, thank you for taking the time to talk to me. And I will see you doing what we do and not what we say.
Thanks, Joe.